The following Snow King Beastie news comes courtesy of WTVR.com. And the title of the news story is Men Suspected in White Supremacist Plot Deemed Danger to the Community. Now, the guy on your left is Ronald Beasley Cheney III. In the middle, we have Robert Doyle. And on the right-hand side, we have Charles Halderman. Okay? So I'm going to read to you what they wrote on the WTVR.com about these guys. They said, and I quote, 2 of the 3 men accused in a plot to bomb black churches and synagogues, rob an armored car, and kill a jewelry dealer were denied bond Thursday. United States District Court Judge Roderick Young found Robert Doyle and Ronald Beasley Cheney III, 33, a danger to the community and ordered them to remain in custody pending their next hearing. A third suspect, Charles Halderman, is scheduled to go before the judge on Friday. Cheney's family declined to comment on the charges outside of court. The men were at the center of an FBI investigation that alleged the trio were plotting the crimes to incite a race war. During Thursday's hearing, it was revealed someone tipped off the FBI about the plan. When FBI learned Doyle contacted a silver broker on Craigslist, the FBI took over account and learned more about the group's plan. Attorneys for Doyle and Cheney seemed to indicate the FBI kept encouraging the men to move ahead with the plot. Quote, I'm sure the defense is going to be looking at a potential entrapment defense, CBS 6 legal analyst Todd Stone said. The men seemed interested in buying multiple silencers and had 4 bulletproof vests between the 2 of them, prosecutors said. Specifics about the plot were not discussed during Thursday's hearing. The next step will be a grand jury hearing on December 1st. Their new charges could be filed. So far, the pair have only been charged with trying to get access to guns after being convicted of a felony. Quote, when they go to the grand jury, the law enforcement officers go into a secret room and explain the case and issue indictments, Stone explained. The men were arrested Sunday following a coordinated raid of one home on Candlelamp Lane in Chesterfield and another on East Gerald Street in Highland Springs. Officers and agents wearing jackets with FBI and ATF on the back were seen bringing evidence boxes out of the Henrico home, according to neighbors. They said investigators were rifling through vehicles parked in the driveway. Quote, there was a bunch of police cars out there. Willie Solomon, who lives near the Highland Springs home, said, quote, they had ARs. I think I counted 7 Suburbans with blacked out windows, cop cars. It was heavy duty. They were just completely going in heavy duty like military style. It was nuts, Nick Murphy, who lives near the Chesterfield home, said about Sunday's raid. FBI documents allege the suspects held a white supremacist meeting inside the Candlelamp Lane home in late September. The home belonged to Doyle, and court paperwork also reported 30 rounds of ammunition were found in Doyle's truck. According to court records, Doyle has a lengthy criminal history including embezzlement, distribution of marijuana, and grand larceny. Quote, he's a sweet guy. Ronald Beasley Cheney III's former girlfriend said she was shocked to learn about his arrest. Quote, he's a sweet guy. Like, I would have never really thought of this at all, Christy Lay said. Quote, we all had a good time. We were always happy. Lay said she met Cheney earlier this year and that he was trying to turn his life around working as an electrician. She called Cheney a respectable person who showed no signs of racial hatred. She added her brother-in-law as black, and Cheney never had an issue. She says she never heard Cheney discuss the other suspects' arrests in this case. Quote, I don't know who they are, Lay said. I didn't even know their names. And he would tell me names about everybody, but I've never heard of their names. She said they ended their relationship 2 weeks ago. Criminal past. Cheney was released from prison in March after serving 8 years on a 10-year prison sentence. He was sentenced in April 2007 for a June 2006 crime in which he was charged with malicious wounding and use in commission of felony. Doyle was found guilty of grand larceny in Henrico and embezzlement in Chesterfield in 2007. Halderman was convicted on various grand larceny charges between 2004 and 2011. End quote. So here's the deal. It sounds like these guys are like damn near career criminals, or at least they've done some fucked up stuff in their lives, you know? These are no angels, no choir boys here. These are some straight up damn thugs. Lock your doors, hide your kids, hide your wives. They're robbing everybody out here. Antoine Dodson's voice and accent. But yeah, this is really insane. So let's get this straight. These guys were plotting and planning on doing some really foul shit, some racially motivated stuff. And if you notice, in the news story, you barely hear anything about that. You know, it's pretty much about how the FBI was watching them, this, that, and the third. But I really wanted to know more about was the whole race-related angle. That's really what this news story is really missing. And I wonder why they left so much of that information out there. Now, here's the deal. Knowing what I know about white folks, if you pay attention to the story, the ex-girlfriend tries to be Captain Save-A-Bro. And she's all like, well, you know, my brother-in-law is black. And he never had an issue with him. First of all, maybe your brother-in-law is a fucking coon. Maybe he hates blacks. Maybe he hates the black people. Maybe he's like one of those people who's like, you know,
Trayvon Martin brought his death upon himself. Now, George Zimmerman never hurt anybody. Of course, he, allegedly pushed a police officer or assaulted a police officer. Other people have accused him of committing acts of violence against them before and after the Trayvon Martin shooting. And he just sounds like a straight up thug. He's been in all sorts of things, but still, Trayvon Martin brought his death upon himself.
Maybe he's one of those types of coons. Just because somebody's a quote unquote black person doesn't mean that they give a shit about so-called blacks. For some reason, people have been brainwashed into believing that if somebody is of a certain group of people, that they can't be bigoted towards the same group. There's plenty of racist black people who hate black people, so-called black people. Anyways, let me know what you think about it all below. Be sure to subscribe to the Meat Magazine YouTube channels. Visit meatmagazine.blogspot.com for more. Stay away from these thugs out here. They just might try to kill you or blow some shit up. As you can see, there's all of these racially motivated shootings and bombing plots and whatnot, and they keep getting caught. You would think that these Caucasian men who keep plotting and planning this shit would just stop while they're behind, but they're not smart enough. Let me know what you think about these clowns below. Meat Magazine.